Good afternoon, everyone. We're the student from Congressional National High School, specifically in the section Accountancy, Business, and Management, Gov 2. My name is Jessel Garces.
And I'm Cheryl Green.
I'm Bernadette Effectual.
We are here to present our research entitled Effectual Strategies Used Towards Overcoming Gender Bias in Congressional National High School.
So for the introduction, to define gender bias is a preference of prejudice existence in different societal institutions.
To have a further look about the issue of gender bias, we have here simple definitions about it. First, it is defined as the separation of gender based on showing preference towards one sex over the other. So this is a common understanding. It is like choosing male over the female or female over the male based on a specific prejudice or preference. Next, gender bias as an issue in academic realm is one of the major concerns experienced, yet is also one left most unnoticed. Here with this part, they're connected. They are placed here to show the relevance of our study because these two statements shows the impact that gender bias plays within the academic realm or within the academic performance of the students themselves. Let's look at the second statement. Here it says that gender inequality limits not only the supposed contribution of the other side, but also suppresses one's ability for growth and future learning, which is definitely crucial here. We can see here the inevitable and very tremendous impact that gender bias can live within, can serve as an effect over the students and of course their academic performance. So basically these are the reasons, or these are the main reasons why we are pursuing this study.
Gender bias also occurs within the learning institution, whether in primary, secondary, or on a college level. So basically, if we're going to base on the past studies or recent research that we have, we can see there that the gender bias is really a thing in the academic realm. Next is all occurrences directly or related are automatically considered as a social injustice in which we should take a battle against. So it's just an emphasis on the relevance of pursuing this study or our study.
So going to our statement of the problem, these are the questions we have based upon towards gathering the data. So first, what are the strategies used to address gender bias in Congressional National High School? To what extent are these strategies implemented? Are these strategies used able to satisfy the resolution against issue of gender bias? Fourth, how can these strategies are integrated for the institution's further development of strategies against gender bias? So for the presentation of the collected data, we have here the discussion about the set of questions used and the respective response coming from the chosen respondents of this study. We have set A that aims to discover the initial knowledge or bias, if there's any, of the respondents towards the issue of gender inequality in this institution.
Despite the lack in order to be able to lead, integrated together with the diligence and the actual possession of intelligence, males are still recorded to be consistently at the top towards the following: mathematics together with analytical thinking and also in the athletic field. This data can prove that the assumption to be doing better in the academic field are solely and within a great magnitude is assumed to be classified based on one's ability to be skilled in the mathematical studies. Looking at the data gathered, it is the only rational way to explain, despite the contradictions, that males are found out to be the ones doing better overall in the academic field.
The surface is part of information about the results that we have gathered. Here's a related study. So it is stated here that different forms of bias, such as gender-related ones, is an issue observed in various fields, especially in the academic stage, which therefore is proved through the fact that the most consistent place for the revelation of this form of inequality is by participation having in schools, despite the level of studies. That means that starting from primary schools, these issues already existed.
So as a continuation, we have set B. This set of situations stated it aims to discover the most used form of gender bias, if there are any, in Congressional National High School as observed by the students.
Based on the data collected from the statements, the teacher disregards the gender of students when forming groups. The teacher's favor doesn't depend on the specific gender of his or her students. There's an equal treatment for all the female and male students. The students are receiving an equal expectation from the teachers regardless of their gender. The students are receiving an equal level of opportunities or chances by the teachers regardless of their gender. The tasks are given not based on the student's gender but based on more specific or significant standards such as their already proven skills. The school authorities show their presence of concern within the equality between male and female. Rules are regulated towards the equality of the students. The core values upheld by the institution are anchored within gender equality. Proper mannerism is equally expected on both genders. It had been proven that on the side of the affirming the existence of such counterproductive actions, which is basically defined as implemented strategies towards gender bias, which are often and always observed part, or which are found to be on the often and always observed part, are justifiably existent and factual.
Okay, to serve as a support and affirmative about the result and the result that we have gathered for the set B questions, we have this related study. Range of causes have been pointed out in which are observed to be a factor of gender bias. In school factors which are on the lead are characterized within the management and the ethics of an institution. This includes the content and the organization of the curriculum, the assessment practices, and the technicalities within the learning unit. So, based on another related study, Sukandanet defined runs overall as being better disclosed to the class activity requirements than reports. They place a significant effort towards the presentation of their work. This means that they spend more time trying to include what they produce. They care more about the opinions of their teachers.
As the next set of questions that is used to gather the information that is needed for the study, we have set C, which aims to measure and evaluate the effectivity of the stated situation about that includes strategies against gender bias. So from the set B, we have found out the strategies that we will be using, or the Congressional National High School is already using to aid gender bias, and we have scaled it based on its effectivity. Now, we will measure if these strategies that have been measured or that have been observed by the students that is being implemented by Congressional National High School is really effective, and if it is, which among them is the most.
This set of statements assumes different situations wherein gender bias can be expressed. Thus, they are created in the context that approves the existence of gender bias. From this, we can observe that the count of dominance lies on the agree and strongly agree choices, respectively. Thus, we can consider that gender bias still are being largely observed by the students. A 180-degree conflict on the previous finding regarding the existence of gender bias strategies in the school.
So these are the findings that we have discovered or that we have gathered from the information or the results of the response that have been gathered from the sets, the statements that is located in sets. So we can see here that on set C, we have placed different assumptions on how gender bias can be expressed, and this is used to measure if the strategies that are implemented, which are also observed by the students regarding the results of the set B, if they are really effective. If these strategies are really effective, or if it have really aided the resolution that it is created for, which is to defeat or to eradicate gender bias. Then, for this we have observed that the count of dominance lies on the choices strongly agree and agree. And from this point, although there's a conflict of findings, we have found out that gender bias, although the strategies are being well observed by the students, these strategies are not still enough for the students to fully revolve their perceptions about their personal biases or personal preferences within some academic prejudice. It has been stated that here that a 180-degree conflict on the previous findings regarding the existence of gender bias strategies in the school have been discovered, which is the findings that we can see in the set. for the findings on the set C, we have here a possible explanation or possible related study why such conflicting discoveries have been the result of this study, of our study. Here it is discussed that these strategies intended to enhance the educational prospects focused on boys potentially limits the capacity of schools to value and support the growth of the girls and different forms of gender identity. This is a significant challenge to the implementations of such strategies, as we can obviously understand that gains made for one group may have a negative impact on the experience of others, exactly the same case within girls and boys. So for another support about or upon the results that we have gathered on the sets here, here we have like another related study. From this we can understand that even though there are specific strategies that are used to overcome or to battle the issue of gender bias in the school, we can see that in the many policies of the school itself, gender bias or the specification on a certain gender for a rule of towards a certain gender or aiding this inequality, form of inequality by means of gender is still invisible. As a conclusion, of course, first we have found out that gender bias is really an existing issue in Congressional National High School, specifically in the students coming from the senior high school department. For the set B, which analyzes which among the different kinds of strategies implemented are most observed, we have found out that all those strategies that are implemented there, which are already discussed in the set B, are dominantly in often and always observed part. And thus we can say that these strategies are well observed and well implemented by Congressional National High School. But coming to the set C, we have a conflict here, a conflict in which we have seen that gender bias from set C, we have found out that although these strategies are well observed based on the set B, there's this conflicting result which is explained by the idea that despite these strategies are being observed, still these strategies are not enough to fully eradicate or revolve the perceptions that the students initially have towards the issue of gender bias. So for the conclusion, of course, yes, there are implemented strategies by Congressional National High School, and yes, they're being well observed, but these strategies are obviously not enough or are obviously not sufficient to cause change or to cause the removal or the aid towards the issue, the problem of gender bias, of gender inequality in the school.
So for the recommendation, school authorities should take a close and very careful look about this matter. Gender bias should be faced with an implementation of the right standard of values in order to overcome it. And lastly, involvement of awareness of students towards this issue within the classroom setting. So that's all
for the presentation of our research.
Any
Any questions?